Welcome back. It's still This Morning live on Metro Television, and on Wednesdays we talk about family and relationship, and today we'll continue the conversation on self-esteem. But in this part we are looking at children, self-esteem in children. So if you're a parent watching, you should really pay attention, because today we are happily and grateful that our first guest we had actually said he was going to come back, and indeed he has honored his promise, and is Reverend Kingsley Kwayisi, and he's Calvary Baptist Church, Shiashie, and also the lead facilitator of Family-Based Care Ghana. And mentioning Family Care-Based Ghana, they do a lot of things. During the conversation, he'll tell us more about it. But then we continue our conversation on self-esteem in children. Good morning.
Good morning, Nana Yaa. I'm so excited that Chelsea won and you brought me back.
And you are in blue.
Yes.
And I'm in blue.
Yes.
Oh, we are matching it. You see, people, guys at the VTR, some of them are Arsenal fans, Manchester United fans, Manchester City.
We love the Blues.
Oh my goodness. So since Monday, we've been talking about it, shoving it in their face,
yes.
And I'm so glad you hammered on it.
Sure. We all have the bragging right now.
Yes.
After 9 years patiently waiting.
Thank you.
We've come through by the grace of God.
By the grace of God.
Happy,
Nothing else by the grace of God. That is
sure.
what they don't understand. But then first, let's talk.
Yeah.
We talked about self-esteem the other time, the types and everything. But right now, I want to focus this conversation in children.
Yeah.
So, in a scale of 1 to 10, generally, how much confidence or self-esteem should a child have?
I believe that we must be intentional as parents and caregivers, people who help children at Sunday school, teachers who teach children, parents, because sometimes this is the contact hours.
Okay.
A parent may have maybe 2 to 3 hours each day, contact hours, maybe a morning from 5 to 6 before the child is dropped off, maybe pick from school 4:30 or 5 to about 7 before the child goes to bed. So I've really 3 hours, but the teacher has 7 to 8 hours.
Yes, that's a lot.
That's a lot of contact hours within the week.
Yes.
A Sunday school teacher may have about 2 to 3 hours every week because of service to contact hours. We must be intentional in speaking positively to the child. Even if the child is slow, even if the child has some challenge, we must say that we're going to help this child to come up. You see, the child is in a formation stage. And it's almost like a system. What you're putting in is what is going to come out. So if we keep telling this child, you are good, you have potentials, you can really be better than this. In fact, you are the best, and I know you have it in you. Keep working at it. Immediately they begin to hear these words. There is affirmation, there is love, he feels you care about him. And you see, the temptation is to look at what a child is doing and says, you are not good enough. You are not too special. Immediately you start to use that, you are actually creating a low self-esteem. But when you use the right positive words, even if the child is not doing well, and it's a form of inspiration and encouragement, you are raising and boosting the self-esteem maybe to about 8. Others may come in later as they grow, the things they pick up, the things they begin to understand about themselves. But we must make that conscious effort to begin to speak words that elevate their status, understand who they are, their identity. Tell them you are a good child. Tell them that you're coming from a good home. You deserve better. We're going to give you the best we can provide.
So they are supposed to have at least 8.
At least 8.
8. And the other ones will come later.
Will come up
and
later.
Even the 8 is more.
It's very high.
It's very,
already
very high.
Most people do, if you're doing on a scale, maybe 5 to 6. But I am encouraging people that we can shoot this into an 8 out of 10.
And does the amount of self-esteem a child has as he goes through the stages of life, that amount, does it in any way shape the child's future?
Definitely. So for example, take a child in an orphanage, or a child who's abandoned, or a child on the street who doesn't have direct caregivers or parents and is struggling through. They get angry at life. They feel nobody cares about them. And so they develop a low self-esteem. They will end up as either prostitutes, armed robbers, or cause all the social vices. So sometimes you see certain crime and you could just see that this child was not raised in a home, like in a family who cares and love, and is trying to exert what he feels of society. Because some of them are mindless crimes that are done. It's like he came, basically killed, took no money, took nothing. He just want to let you know that they can cause pain, just like society has caused pain on them. So think about that in that way and see that if we are intentional and we are speaking the right thing and we are creating the right environment for the child, it gives the child everything the child needs to be able to think well, believe in him or herself, be able to be creative.
Yeah.
You go to other places and you find kids as young as 10, 12 programming, being creative, finding solutions to problems in society. It's because they've been told that they matter. They've been told that they have in them to make positive contribution to society. So the kind of self-esteem we help to create children defines everything. And I dare to say that we have lacked it in our society. And that is the kind of product we have with people who even finish university and feel not confident to find a job, or sometimes even to create a job if there is none. Because we've been told we are not good enough. You've been told this is Ghana, this is Africa. If you don't know anybody, no matter how you're good, you can't go anywhere. You can't start a business. You don't have in you to be able to raise the capital. We've had too much negativity. And I'm sorry to say I'm a pastor. Sometimes even in the pulpit, we speak down on ourselves. You go, there's a witch in your house. You are not good enough. Your mother is hurting you. All those words kind of demoralize people. It doesn't make people feel like God loves them enough. They have what it takes to make. People are coming to church. People are going to places with already baggages and burdens. Let's not worsen it as pastors. When we have that 1 hour or 45 minutes to engage them, it must be the word of hope, the word of life. Look, the gospel is always a bad news of who we are. We are sinful. But it's also a good news that Christ died for you so that you can have a better life. You are a new creation and you have everything you need to make a difference in this world. The words we speak, the formation, the intentional socialization to help a child to understand that his matters would define everything. It's going to spell out the kind of energies they take into relationship. It's going to spell out the kind of demand or the expectation they take to workplace to know that they can contribute even if they have a difficult boss. It's not going to shut them down. It's going to define everything. So self-esteem for me, it is the definer of everything. It's the basic. It helps basic identity and allows you to even be able to discover your purpose in life and allow you to be able to dream and focus on a big future and make a difference in your world.
And even if it happens at the very early age, then a child grows into the society. It helps the nation at large.
Because at the end of the day, definitely that child will not be a liability.
Thank you.
It becomes an asset. He's thinking of better ways to solve the problems that are confronting because he knows it's in her. She's carrying potential to make a difference. But when we keep talking down on people, in fact, we are just creating another cycle of low esteem people who can contribute to society, who are afraid to take decisions, who can't take a risk, who can't make anything. They just lame, quiet, lay back, and can't do much. And sometimes the boss will be shouting more on people. Why are you so laid back? Why are you so lazy? Can't you think? Can't you? He's had that all her life. And now it's being suppressed at the office. 8 hours. And so when he's going to work, she's afraid. He's afraid what's going to happen next. He hasn't enjoyed the work because he does not build a self-esteem that he really can make a difference at that place.
Now let's channel our focus on the parent, because the parent is the one coming to impact. If the parent doesn't impact, the parent doesn't inform, doesn't teach, this child doesn't become what we want society to see him to be. So what are the ways parents can use to enhance themselves to impact in their children?
Nana Yaa, thank you. And I feel sorry when we start to talk about parenting. Because it's one of the underappreciated, I can almost want to say that there are many illiterate parents. You know, we train for everything. You didn't just jump to be a journalist. You went through school training. Even if you came to this company, you were given some orientation. And sometimes you are given feedback and appraisal. Who does training for parents? Who does appraisal for parents? Who basically tell parents that if you do it. So many of us have learned how we were treated 20 years ago, 40 years ago. You know, and sometimes if, I'm sorry to say, if you had parents who were not properly raised, they're going to pass what they know to you. And look, if you're a parent listening to us, you have every right to buy the right books to read, to attend seminars as you can, talk to your pastor to do parenting thing. And the pastor doesn't have it. There are many experts who are in the universities teaching on family and consumer sciences. People have been trained to understand what it means to look out for the best interests of the child. I think parenting must be one of the courses we take seriously because it's the definer. We said the hand that, you know, rocks the cradle rules the world. But sometimes we forget that nobody is teaching us how to rock the cradle. And so we are turning up people whose leadership comes and we just are in awe. Is this member of parliament? How can he talk this way? Please go back and trace how he was raised. Things just don't happen because people have become. Some are intentional. So even if you had bad parenting, when you were growing up, you can buy books, you can attend seminars, you can make the effort to read online and begin to educate yourself, or belong to a small accountable parental group. Maybe you and your spouse and others, 4 or 5 of you, begin to share experiences and learn from one another. It's one of the ways people have done to polish themselves. There are a lot of ways to get education. I feel parenting has not been taught. Most people have caught. And because they caught it, it depends on where they caught it from. It defines how they actually exercise this giftedness, this special role of parenting. And I think many of us are failing. And so I am talking to parents that get information, get understanding, know that you have, in fact, you have the biggest role to play in the children God has given to you. It allows you to be able to help build a certain esteem that your children will survive whether you are alive or not, whether you are present or not. You actually can raise children to make decisions, best of decisions than yourself.
Rev, when I was introducing you, I made mention of you being the lead facilitator of family-based care, Ghana, and a little reading shows you guys, if there's no parent in the system, if a child doesn't have anyone, there's an organization that is willing to take in and help. So I want you to tell me more about Family-Based Care Alliance.
Thank you very much, Nana Yaa. So what Family-Based Care Alliance Ghana is doing is working with churches and working with NGOs and even with government agencies like Department of Social Welfare and the others. We have identified that there are many children on the street and in families, in orphanages. Many good-hearted Ghanaians once a while will go give them items. I think it's good because it meets the 2 basic needs of human life: shelter and food safety, and perhaps, you know, a place of security for them. But when it comes to love and belonging, that's a 3rd level of Maslow's hierarchy of need. And then 4th is self-esteem, what we are talking about. 5th is the self-actualization. Many of those children on the street lack the 3rd and the 4th. So giving food to an orphanage is good, but we believe the child deserves more than food. He deserves a family. And I believe there are many people within our communities and churches who can step up to be trained by the Department of Social Welfare. That's what we do. We create the opportunity with social welfare to give training, which is both holistic, that is very, you know, sensitive to whatever the child is coming from. They are traumatized children. They are abused children. They are trafficked children. They are all forms of children, abandoned children, orphans, vulnerable. How do we train parents who will be willing to help? So we recommend, in fact, this whole month we're doing a campaign to allow many, many families to think of, would there be opportunity to create space for one child? And we are actually appealing to pastors and churches. If every church decides to help one
in Ghana,
every church, even in Accra, let's start from Accra, will help one child, one orphan, one street child, by finding a way through the Department of Social Welfare. We trace and put them to close kinship, an uncle, a grandmother, if parents are dead, so that this child can be supported locally in the community where the child is from. We would get many children out of orphanages. They will find permanent places. They will have high self-esteem because an uncle is going to love on this child. A relative is going to do that. But just in case we don't have kinship care, as in relatives coming in, we talk about foster care. Foster care is about good, willing people who have been trained, certified by the Department of Social Welfare, so that they can take care of someone's child for a brief season. It could be a year or 2 whilst we find a permanent place for that child. The point is to take the child out of many places. Many of them are 40, 50, taken care of by 2 women. They are doing their best. I am not here to criticize orphanages. I'm here to say the child deserves more than an orphanage. An orphanage is supposed to be a transition home to allow the child to find a permanent place to be, you know, sent. But whilst they are there, there is so much to which we can do for them. If you go to give the food, interact with the kids. Don't take pictures to show on social media how you have gone to help. I think that traumatized many children growing up to know there is a digital footprint of them being literally at the mercy of people. But you can love on them. You can talk about experiences you've had to encourage people without taking pictures. Because many of them, we don't get the approval. And that is an abuse of many children. So these are the things we're trying to talk about. I won't give a shoe to my daughter and take a picture and put on social media that I bought a shoe for my daughter. So why should I do that when I go to the orphanage?
Yeah.
Why should I do that when I see a street child and I give a small food? I want to take a picture and let the whole world know that this child is an orphan, it's a street, and it's vulnerable, and therefore it should be in the media space. I believe time has come that if really we're a caring country, we talk about the Ghanaian hospitality, it must first be extended to our orphans and vulnerable children. Not just to strangers and foreigners and aliens who visit us. It must start from home. These children deserve family. And we believe Department of Social Welfare is ready to train as many families as possible who will place. There are just about 5,000 kids in our orphanages around here. If we find 5,000 churches supporting one family, we will take many of these children. And orphanages will just remain a transitional place for
you get there, you go.
That is what it's meant to be. And we believe that we must continue that. Because let me just add this. At the time they are 18, they are asked to leave. By law, sometimes they are in high school. If they go out of the system, where do they go?
Where are they going to?
Many of them don't have any connection to an Imagine you stayed in the orphanage for almost 15, 18 years and you're asked to go. You don't have money to rent. You don't have skill even to work. But that is the case of some of them. Some orphanages do well. Keep them until they're able to get a job before they are released to go. Some, they tell you there's no space. You've grown. Make room for the children. At least you are 18, 19, 20, you can take care of yourself. Some of them just go and add up to all the problems we have in the society.
So when are you doing the official launch for this program?
We launch the foster care month on Monday. But God willing, on 22nd, we are inviting as many pastors who already are doing well for us to come together at Calvary Baptist Church at 9 a.m. That's the 22nd of June. And what we're doing is that we are helping them to rethink how can we use church, not just as a place of, worship, but as a place of engaging the community and helping orphans and vulnerable children. So that conversation is coming up. And on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, through the Judicial Training Institute, we are engaging lawyers, we're engaging high court judges and some lower court judges, and engaging how best do we have children placed in families. They are good practices by the law to which we do. So we're going to have conversation around that with the kind courtesy of the Chief Justice.
Oh, Rev, thank you very much. We see what the family is doing, helping the children to belong. So we'll follow, and whatever it is, we are family now. So you always come. So whatever it may go, we'll be here to
Let me just do one big shout out before I leave.
Feel free.
I want to really thank all the media houses, Metro TV, being partner to what we are doing. We want to thank the churches and the pastors who have been very, very open to this conversation by not creating more orphanages, but rather helping the children to move from the orphanages into families. And every family who is thinking about it, every family who's already taking some nephews and nieces and you are already helping, we want to say thank you for what you are doing, because you are really providing a lasting solution and boosting the self-esteem of all the children. And thank you too for coming. Thank you for having me. We really appreciate you. So I've been having a conversation with Reverend Kingsley Kwayisi of the Calvary Baptist Church, Shiashie, and also the lead facilitator for Family-Based Care Ghana. You're still watching This Morning live on Metro Television. We'll be right back.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.